Hi.
How do you pronounce it? Hi, it's Tom Dixon here. I'm broadcasting from London. I've come here really to talk to you about clouds.
I'm Berndnaut Smilde. I'm a visual artist. Well, I make sculptures and installations, but also clouds. So we're here to talk that through.
We became fascinated with your work because we share an obsession with clouds, really. I know your interests go beyond that, and so do mine. But I've been for many years trying to mimic natural phenomenon to try and make lighting fixtures, but it's almost impossible. So when I saw your cloud and how real it was indoors, I was mesmerized by it. My latest creation is cloud-like, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Series of bowls, right? But you know, obviously they take inspiration from natural phenomena, but they are dense and they are hard and they are non-transparent and they don't move, right? So this is, although it may be a success as a bowl, it's not really a success as a luminous, transparent object like a cloud. So I mean,
it is a water carrier in some way. So it is a kind of container, just as clouds are as well.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. No.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use
that.
No,
it's the same as with my clouds as well. Because of the light I use, it also, the light bounces off that cloud as well. And in a way, the cloud is lighting up the space as well. So it's kind of illuminating the surrounding also.
Yeah, and I guess what's so nice about yours is that it's ephemeral, just like a cloud. And I'm trying to make an object which has permanence. And so there's, from the departure point, it's a very different ambition there.
Yeah. Mine fall apart the moment they grow, actually. And I kind of like that. But for me, also, the way of documenting it through photography is the way for me to, make the work permanent in a way. But I do like that idea that you look at a photograph and then realize that you're looking at something that already took place and is gone. So in your memory, you're kind of reliving that story again. So
yeah, but I still, I think it's a human instinct to want to possess something and own something and keep it.
True, yeah.
If I had a little pet cloud that would follow me around, I'd be very happy. And I think the cloud thing is super interesting right now because of all of the experiments in trying to create more rainwater in China, and there's people trying to do to make clouds on a much grander scale out there at the moment, right?
Yeah, true. And we still cannot fully grasp them, and that's really nice about it as well, that we try to comprehend clouds and what they do, how they transport water, and how we could mimic it in a way. So yeah.
But you're not in a position to make a giant cloud that's going to save the world, then?
No, not yet.
No. So the composition of them, are they more like smoke, or are they more like?
I make them with smoke, but also with water. So I spray water vapor around, actually, and the water particles stick to the smoke, and they keep it together. So it's basically the same as with a real cloud. A real cloud needs kind of dust nuclei to, for the moisture to stick onto. And basically, so this cloud, my cloud, can also be, exaggerated, and then it just gets heavy with the water, and then it just drops. If I use too much water, it just literally falls on the floor. It will not rain, it just bumps onto the floor. So it's finding this balance between, because the smoke will rise, and it depends on the surrounding and the space. So there's lots of testing involved and lots of adjustments in order for me to find that right cloud. And also, I cannot fully control the light situation, and because that cloud is growing and it's also reflecting the light, so every image is unique in a way, but I cannot really predict it that well. So
okay, and so how did you come? Did you blow smoke rings with cigarettes when you were a boy, or I mean, how did you come?
I did as well. No, I used to build lots of things always. It started off with Lego, obviously. Building everything from Lego and making things into into better solutions, finding better solutions for objects you wanted to build, and most of the time it just starts with working in a space. and I make installations and sculpture. I love to work with different kinds of materials. And at the moment I was working in a miniature space from an artist collective. And because it was a model, you could do anything in there, just the light, the walls. So I thought how nice it would be if I could just make a cloud sculpture, if I could capture a cloud for a short moment. And then I started testing with all kinds of things, with dry eyes and smoke. And yeah, so it's basically just grabbing that moment and using all tools to get to that idea, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was looking at nano gel at one point, which is an amazing material. I know that you've been looking at it as well, but you know, the problem was that it was so delicate and required a skin amount that you were back to the beginning. Are you actually using it yourself?
Well, aerogel, or
yeah, the nano gels, aerogels.
Yeah. I've been using it in a few small sculptures. I know what you mean. I have a piece here as well. It's quite a large piece, actually. But yeah, it's beautiful because the blue kind of glimmer from it is just because of the breaking of light in it. But it's really brittle. On the other hand, I really like that dense structure. I try to cut it with a laser, and it doesn't get through. But you can just scratch it off with your nails, and it sounds almost like glass. It's fantastic. But it's something I like the material because, well, it's our way of mimicking something that is lighter than air in a way. It's about our human eager to mimic nature in a way, but on the same hand, it's just a kind of useless thing. You cannot really use it for anything. You use it for isolation in clothing and stuff. But I've made small sculptures with it on small maquettes of exhibition spaces, and for me it relates to the idea of a cloud on top of a space, because you can look right through it, and it's also basically 99% air. I really like that idea.
Yeah, no, that's kind of fascinating, you know, sort of in between material, in between your temporary materials and the solid ones that I use. And, you know, my problem always is when things are light, people assume that they will be cheap, you know, and they will not, you know, so I'm in a world where you're not paying for the idea, you're paying for the object. Whereas in your world, presumably people are thinking about the conceptual departure point as well as the installation, but they don't need to own the thing for a permanent amount of time. And the nanogel for me is sort of the epitome of the problem that I face, which is that if an object is lighter than air or as light as air, people believe it has no value. And of course, with the nanogel, it's exactly the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so very difficult to produce. So you need enormous machines to produce this a small bit. And
really? I didn't know about the machine. How do they make it?
It's pressed and dried silica gel, and you need to press it and dry it. And in order to get a big amount, you have to have enormous machines as well.
So you're not going to be buying any enormous nanogel machines soon, then?
No, I don't think so. No, but it would be nice to find a way of using it in some sculptures. I just like the material. Sometimes you find this material and think, oh wow, I want to do something with it. Also, recently I discovered, also worked with aluminum for the first time. It's one of, I never worked with this stuff. For instance, I'm not sure if you can see it. This was a kind of toy ship I found, like one of those beach toy ships, but it was sinking in itself, and I kind of like that idea. So I've cast it in aluminum, and it's actually a beautiful material. I mean, it bends to a certain extent, and then it breaks. So it has a lot of, I don't know.
So how do you cast it so thin and so light? I can see how light this is.
Yeah, I thickened it a bit with wax in order to be thick enough to cast it. But it's cast in two halves. So the upper part, and I've pressed it in. I hammered it in, actually.
Okay, you've been hammering just like me. Yeah, we're both like
hammering. Yes.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, sometimes you find an idea and you just have to find a material with it. Mm-hmm. And so that's always the case. And that's the same as also with stuff like, for instance, what we know of as a prism. I just love the shape and the idea of a prism because it's so direct, and it shows how light breaks and how we perceive our surrounding, how we perceive colors and everything. It just shows it in this little piece of glass. And I like that idea of the directness of it. And those things I use in my work for for instance, for breaking light at a large scale. The idea started also of using a prism in front of a lighthouse to break the light of a lighthouse and impose a rainbow onto the landscape. So yeah, those are things you have to test it for real if they work.
It's funny because we're obviously obsessed with similar materials with totally different outcomes, which is always very interesting, I think. I mean, you know, this idea of refraction and prisms is something that we've been exploring a lot in lighting, and also with metallization, half metallization, so you can see through and you get multiple reflections like some of these mirrors.
Yeah, there's a lot of reflective surfaces in your products, actually. Is that?
Yeah, but also, you know, so this is exactly the same thinking as you, you know, maybe even from the same departure point, which is the Fresnel lenses on light.
The Fresnel lens, yeah.
But I've used it in an opposite way, which is to round off the things so that I can make soft edges, because, you know, particularly in the home, you can't have sharp, you know, the sharp angles of prisms, but it still acts as a lens and does these weird optical illusions that I like, where the light is refracted and goes in the opposite direction. And you know, then so that there's that, which is slightly more scientific, but also the kind of you know, the metallization I was talking about, which again gives you a kind of, by using less symmetrical shapes, you're in a position where you can do something which really feels, you know, crystalline or really natural, because the reflections are almost unpredictable. So these all look like they're unique objects depending on where you stand in the room and where the light is in the room, and they all look different, even though they're perfectly, absolutely the same. They look like they're natural, you know, fruit or something like that. But I think the prismatic and the refraction of light is something that I'm only just really touching the surface of, and I'm going to do a lot more like that. But are you using light a lot as well?
Yeah, well, it started from working with the prisms, and also an idea like taking over a lighthouse for a bit and trying to break the light of a lighthouse, and then you need to just do it to see if it works. But where do you start?
Take a working lighthouse and disrupt it
by using a prism, but then a very large prism.
It'd be quite dangerous for the shipping, no?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to aim anything at sea, only towards the land. But I got permission on 2 lighthouses, and actually it worked. And that was fantastic. So you drag up that prism, and you wait for it to get dark, and then you're not sure if it works. You start talking with people on how refraction works and if it could possibly work. And they say, yeah, maybe, but there's always this bit that they say it's uncertain. And then you just have to do it. And when it works, that's fantastic. And it's the same thing with your clouds. You have an idea, and when you almost come close to that idea, close enough, I think, yeah, that's for me the whole purpose, actually. That's the nice thing about it.
Well, you mean the journey is as important as the end point, or?
Well, but also in the end, that you have an idea and you come quite close to it, knowing that it will never be like in your head, but you know, that it resembles it in a way or takes a different direction. That you cannot predict, obviously, but I like that idea.
Yeah, cool. So and where are you showing at the moment?
I'm in Amsterdam now.
No, but are you having any shows in the virtual environment or real environments at the moment?
Most of my shows have been postponed now for already some time. So I'm working towards a solo exhibition in a German museum. And also the end of the year with a solo exhibition with my gallery in London. Yeah. So, but it keeps postponing. And also I'm participating in the World Expo Dubai this year, which had been postponed, but yeah, this year will go on. So lots of things. Yeah, there's time to prepare for things now. It's a crazy time, but also, yeah, there's possibilities as well. Last week I was working in the Kunstmuseum in The Hague. It's a beautiful Art Deco building by architect Berndnaut, a fantastic building, but it's empty now, and there's opportunity to work in it now. So that was fantastic.
Thanks a lot, Berndnaut, for sharing your cloud experiences with us and all of your new materials. can't wait for me to see the clouds for real in a real space. So let us know when your London gallery show opens. And if you get any ideas for any illumination using clouds, we should partner up.
Yes, sounds like a good plan. It was great talking to you, and well, have a great time in your, well, online in Stockholm it is.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.